Hi everybody! With the End of Dragons livestream being only 2 days away, I couldn't contain my excitement and had to share the hype with you. This is my second set of Elite Specialization suggestions, and it covers the medium armor professions of Ranger, Thief and Engineer. So please enjoy my excited theories about the amazing specializations we could be getting very soon. When we think about Rangers and Cantha, there's one thing that comes to our mind more than anything, and that's turtles. The Luxon turtles were a huge part of the first game, and Luxon Rangers with turtles is just such an iconic combination that it has to happen. Also,
I like turtles.
The most appropriate weapon would of course be the shield, even though that may not sound too exciting, since most shield skills are pretty boring on any profession, like you summon a protective barrier, you stun your enemy, you gain protection. Yeah, not the most exciting thing. But think of the turtles though! And they could incorporate some damage elements, like retaliation, which has been recently removed but could be added back to specific skills. Like, imagine if Ranger Shield got a block skill that has retaliation on it. People will be killing themselves. It will be amazing. They could also reuse some animation from Guardian Focus 5, like imagine those shield things around you, but textured and green because turtles, of course. Anyway, I think it would be quite cool actually. The utility skills would be animal summons. Think about it. Why don't we have this yet? Necromancers can summon extra pets, but rangers can't? Well, now they can. Our utility skills would call an animal to our side that would perform an attack, then auto-attack for some time, and then despawn. Cantha has some unique wildlife that I expect to see either in a tameable form or as an animal summon skill, and these could include a crane, crab, phoenix, and, you guessed it, turtle. Like, you could have one that charges at an enemy and launches them, one that does damage, one that taunts, etc. And the elite skill could be a stampede, where you summon a whole pack of animals that trample your enemies, similarly to the Necromancer's Lich Form Minion Rush skill. So I think this would tap into an underutilized aspect of the Ranger, who don't really have anything like that, even though it makes perfect thematic sense. Like, if your Ranger is known, you get to summon some extra animals that feel perfect for the class, and should have been baseline, I think, which we could now get with the Canthan Elite Specialization. The name of this animal-oriented elite specialization could be the Tamer, and the profession mechanic would be Unbreakable Bond, because tamers would do such a good job that their animal companions would be very attached to them, and as an added bonus, they could get you up from downstate immediately if they aren't killed before you, because of your deepened bond. Obviously this would need to have some sort of cooldown for balancing purposes, but pets can already help rangers rally when they are down, it just takes longer. And this would essentially give rangers a warrior vengeance-like instant rally built into their pet. Since the last two ranger elite specializations were support and damage oriented and didn't focus much on having a pet, I think this tankier, very animal-centric elite specialization could be very fun. Plus, no way can ArenaNet pass up something as amazing and meme-tastic as the Luxon turtles, and Canthan Ranger is the perfect contender to live their best turtle tamer life. The elite specialization for the Thief is pretty straightforward, I think. The Assassin was one of the Canthan professions, and there are many assassins in Canthan lore, so I think it's an obvious choice that would be a shame to pass up. Some people say that Thief is already like an assassin, however, I think there is enough room for that thematic niche. If you think about it, warriors were fierce, weapon-wielding fighters using adrenaline to burst people down, and they still got Berserker, which was a fierce, weapon-wielding fighter using adrenaline to burst people down, so assassin is good to go as far as I'm concerned. The assassin's new weapon would be an offhand sword, although Revenants already have dual sword Shiro, so ArenaNet would have to pay extra attention to differentiate Thief from that somehow. Another possible offhand that would fit assassins really well is a fan-focused offhand, which is a really stereotypical Asian fantasy weapon, and we already have a skin like that in the game. The only reason I'm hesitant about this is that it may encroach on Mesmer territory too much. Sword or even dagger-wielding duelists with foci is a niche that Mesmers already have covered. So yeah, offhand sword may be the safest bet after all. I do have to say though, I'm not particularly excited for this prospect because I don't think Thief main hand sword feels all that good to use, especially if you've actually played Revenant. However, if we do get an offhand sword, I suppose this may be remedied by the new skills. Thief has a unique mechanic in which their number 3 skill changes based on the offhand equipped. So we'd actually get an offhand sword based skill for all of our main hand weapons, and unlike other professions whose weapon skills are limited by cooldowns, thieves can spam the same skill as much as they want as long as they have initiative. So they really only need one good DPS and one decent CC ability because they'll just be wanting to use the best one anyway. So there may be a redemption for main hand sword yet. When it comes to utility skills, thieves already have many assassin abilities from the first game, so perhaps they could get stances. Assassins had pretty powerful enchantments which could be revamped and incorporated into Guild Wars 2. Way of the Master could increase your chance to critically hit while wielding 2 weapons, for example. Way of Perfection could be a healing skill that heals you every time you crit, which would synergize insanely well with Thief traits. And Way of the Empty Palm could reduce the initiative cost of your skills for some time, or something. The profession mechanic could be parry, which is a pretty common thing in other games with melee classes. In Guild Wars, essentially it could be an on-demand block, after which you could unlock a riposte skill that would work like your regular stolen skills. However, this could make for very reactive gameplay rather than just spamming steal skills off cooldown. Riposte skills already exist in certain weapons, so ArenaNet certainly has the mechanical side of it covered. Personally, I really want to see assassins in Guild Wars 2, not just because they are an iconic anthem profession, but also because ArenaNet has recently added this assassin-inspired outfit, and it would be cruel to disappoint us. Let me know whether you'd prefer sword or focus, and what other specializations you'd like to get for Thief. Now the engineer is a tricky one. Literally, they have so many tricks, gadgets, bits and bobs, they have a pretty insane and bloated toolkit already, so where could we go from there? There isn't anything engineer related about Cantha, so we have a pretty clean slate. Slate. Rocks. Dredge. I know. Sonic technology. That is the science of sound, not anything hedgehog related. Dredge have some well-established technology in the lore, including their reverberators, that weird sound cannon thing that they used on dragon minions in the prior missions, so the engineer could very easily learn to do that too. The engineer's new weapon would be a staff. It could kinda look like a tuning fork, and it would be a ranged weapon for a change, unlike the hammer and the sword of the last 2 elite specializations. Weavers got many interesting animations, so engineers could get some of those, except, repurposed for sonic attacks. We could get the conal daze that screeching type mobs do, which engineers could do with sound waves. We could also get treble, or something which could do resonating damage in an area. The utility skills should be preparations or traps, but deployable at range. We have a whole bunch of kits already that do damage from close range. We have turrets that we can drop wherever we are currently standing, but we should get some long-range options to target areas from afar. I would prefer preparations to traps because I think they are more deliberate and more fun, since traps are just triggered by enemies automatically. But basically the engineer could place certain preparations like a faulty boombox, and whenever they want they can activate it remotely so that it dazes mobs in an area. Or they could place an out-of-tune gong, and when they activate it, it taunts mobs because, of course, they would want to destroy it as it sounds terrible. Alright, we're entering the pretty wacky territory, but I think this sort of crazy thing fits engineers really well. So what if the profession mechanic was optimal acoustics? Hear me out. You know how there are those treasure compass bundles for finding bandit chests or hidden chests? Like it does a ping and then it shows you in green, red and orange where to go. What if engineers would get a ping ability that points them towards a randomly chosen area in, I don't know, a 3-meter radius, and if the engineer stands in that designated area, they get bonus damage to their abilities or they get boons or something? Wouldn't that be thematically amazing? Like, you determine the best acoustic spot for your sonic attacks, and then you stand there and then rock out for the win. Let me know if you would enjoy a Sonic Char Metal Legion band member, or a crazy Asura technician who was raised by Dredge or something. Or perhaps you have other ideas for the engineer, or the ranger or the thief. I'd love to hear those too. This was my second batch of Elite Specialization suggestions, so the only one left now are the heavy professions. If you haven't seen the first one about Mesmer, Necromancer and Elementalist Elite specs, then you can find that on my channel. I hope you are as hyped for End of Dragons as I am, and thanks for watching.